Okay, what I'd like to talk to you about is causation versus correlation. So I've linked these articles for you to read over, and I highly suggest this. Are some great articles, and it'll help you better understand this chapter. Okay, so let's talk about this. Uh, a lot of times you're given information and you are told there is a correlation and you're told there may be a causation, and that's a big maybe, and it's really important not to get misled into assuming that because the statistics say there is a relationship, that it explains anything at all. There's my favorite on this particular article in Metafloss is number one: eat chocolate and you will win a Nobel Prize. And so, what is the problem with this logic? Well, here's the thing: there is a correlation between the uh, ingredients, what makes up chocolate, and brain function. So we know that. Uh, the problem is there really any impact on intelligence? And so they went and looked at a place like Switzerland that has a lot of Nobel Prize winners, but it's a very small country. The thing about it is, real big thing here. It's one of the richest countries in the world, and they eat a lot of chocolate. They eat a lot of chocolate because they are rich. And they generally probably have much better education system. I know for a fact they do. I've been to Switzerland. I have friends that live there. And they have a much better education system with required to learn multiple language, wealthier families. All of this generally results in higher IQs. This is an example of what's called a lurking variable. And a lurking variable has an impact both on your explanatory variable, and that is eating chocolate, and the response variable, and that is IQ. So we know the richer the country, the more likely they are to eat chocolate. And they're also going to get a tremendously better system of education to develop their mental skills, which we call IQ. So that actually leads me to the second one, because this is the one we hear a lot in the United States. Uh, Music lessons may boost IQ and grades. And this is actually published in the American Psychology Association. And why? Well, because the data is actually correct. There is a correlation, again, with music lessons, especially the people that have had them. The earlier you start, the longer you play, the bigger the impact on IQ. Okay, so basically, what are we looking at? An increase of IQ of 7.5. And what are we talking about? 6 years of lessons. Well, first of all, music lessons are expensive. Or are we talking a piano? It's what, a $20,000 investment, and years of instructions, probably private. Um, what am I thinking? No, I'm thinking these are rich families who have a tremendous amount of money to invest in the type of things like getting Swiss chocolate and having their children have music lessons. They probably also have incredible resources financially to support their children's education. More than likely, I'm going to guess that the children with 6 years of lessons probably have more likely that they have parents who are well educated and are higher income than the children who do not have 6 years of music lessons. So, again, an example of a lurking variable is probably a much better explanation. Having income and parents with education is probably going to have a tremendous impact on whether you actually ever take music lessons or not. So, and sometimes it could just get straight up ridiculous. What do I mean? Coffee drinking and lung cancer from a meta-analysis. And meta-analysis, I'm going to tell you right now, make me very, very, very nervous. I do not uh, put a lot of faith in most meta-analysis because of the tremendous limitations that you have in meta-analysis. So basically, we go out and look at a lot of people, and what we've seen, because meta means better, right? Big, big, big. We've looked at 1,000 researchers. That's wonderful. You think that you would really know something, and the fact is, this told us nothing. Coffee drinking does not cause lung cancer. And again, read this article. I've got it linked for you, and they explain. And basically, it is another example of a lurking variable. Well, probably not a lurking variable. This would be probably more likely a confounding variable. So, what do I mean by a confounding variable? That smoking and other behaviors similar to smoking causes lung cancer. We know that. And if you do not separate out people who are non-smokers or are engaged in other high-risk behaviors that would lead to lung cancer, like working in a very dusty environment, factories. So basically, the pooled estimates indicated that when the potential co-founding effect from smoking is controlled for, drinking does not appear to be a lung cancer risk factor, of course. So it's really important that we ask ourselves, what are we doing? And are we thinking about the situation completely from all the possible cause and effects? Just because you find a mathematical relationship does not imply cause and effect. And in this one, when they actually went ahead and dealt with the confounding effect, they could actually realize that drinking coffee does not cause a response of lung cancer. So, why is this so important? Let's talk about this. And this is really important. Harvard Business Review. So, the issue is someday, I hope every one of you is a leader in our society. You will be out there helping make decisions and policies as an adult. And what the biggest thing is, be a well-educated person. And a well-educated person, in this particular instance, is worth their weight in gold. Because if you do not understand the difference between correlation and causation, and again, this is an excellent article here to read. Why? It's increasingly important for business and government leaders. Someday, I hope you have a job where you get to make decisions. And I hope that this education will help you make good decisions that will lead you to success in your organization. So highly read this article. Talks about the risks that we run into. Very, very important, and again, because you're making these decisions. If you think coffee causes lung cancer, then you go out and ban everyone from drinking coffee. All you have done is put an unnecessary control on society, spent a lot of money, and you've accomplished nothing. I want you to make choices and decisions that are well educated that lead to success. I want there to be an accomplishment with your choices. But those choices have to be well educated choices. So read this article, Harvard Business Review. Again, it talks about the implications of what happens when leaders, whether it's business leaders or government leaders, are making decisions that are not fully supported, and they think that they are because someone did some statistics and they did not understand the difference between correlation and causation. So, with that, read the articles. Let me know what you think of them.